Welcome to the Wellness on Tap podcast with your host, Dr. Debs Eastwood.
On Facebook, just before I set off, so I could listen to one on my way over. With it being such a short distance of time from yesterday inviting, I was like, I still have to listen to one before I get over. And I was like, all right, it's not this Facebook, isn't the whole thing. I need to jump onto YouTube. But it was a really interesting, was it microbiacular hydrogen? I can't remember.
Theo, molecular hydrogen.
Wow,
Yeah.
It's like, wow. 20 years worth of knowledge and experience from that guy there, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I'll be spending Monday and Tuesday next week with him.
Will you? And from that, listening to that one, I am like, right, I'm listening to every single one.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share it widely, darling.
Fangirl, yes.
Share it widely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, whether I'll actually spend a massive amount of time with him on Monday and Tuesday, but I'll be working out of his new location.
Brilliant. Oh, so working.
That he's got.
I love that.
Doing my IVs.
Excellent. Yeah.
So
I saw Ian Franklin this morning. He says hello.
Oh, isn't he lovely?
Oh, he's so lovely. So lovely. He lives down the road, so
great.
Second time I've grabbed a coffee with him, so I'm always like, yay, I get to see you in person.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
But yeah, he said, just pass on my love.
Bless him.
Yeah.
Been trying to find a way to get him on the podcast, but he didn't even take paracetamol.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Yeah. And obviously he's quite necessarily private about his philanthropic and family office work into, and I would never, ever expect him to divulge stuff. Yeah. But it makes it difficult to think, how can I get you sitting there?
Oh, his connection to people, his understanding of how he can fit people into roles, so an understanding of psychology and skill sets that he's drawn from his career.
There you go. All I needed to do was ask somebody.
It's what sprung to mind then. I don't know if it fits, but, potential, isn't it? Because that's mind and mindset and stuff.
It is. It is. Maybe that's the way in. Interesting.
My humble opinion.
Yeah. No. Every opinion counts, doesn't it?
Of course. Yeah.
It was like yesterday when we were chatting and I was just like, oh, yeah, there's some serious resonance there. This is going to fit together nicely. Resonance being an interesting choice of word, exactly, I think, on my part.
Yes.
But I was really, really interested in how you have come to the place where you are. Because I know a little tiny bit from what we were chatting about of the story as to why it is that you're doing what you're doing. And it's a beautiful journey. And you can just see the flow when you're looking from my perspective and seeing the whole thing. But I bet it didn't feel like that to you.
It certainly didn't feel like it was flowing for a lot of the times. And I suppose it's been a 20-year journey as well. Although a conscious 13-year journey, so to speak. I'm extremely interested in alternative health modalities just from my own healing journey, and because I've had to be, I was forced to be interested. Otherwise, it was write myself off,
That's a big statement. Can we go back to the beginning? Turn back the clock 20 years, just for the purpose of talking about it.
Of course, yes. So, I mean, I say 20 years. So you're talking as a teenager, early teens. I started off smoking. Lots of people smoked back then, etc. Yep. Not so much of a big thing. I was always quite a lively social butterfly. Wasn't really fitting at school. School really wasn't my thing. I went more for the socialising there, I was very interested in going out and having a party, and that along came the recreational side of things. Had very little boundaries for self-care. I'd say self-love now as well. So I spent I'd say 18 to 20 years addicted to two substances, tobacco being one of them and weed being the other. And then you sort of fast forward to my early 20s, and I undertook a electrical apprenticeship, which was fantastic at the time. I was doing something that was a bit different for a female to go into the male environment, to become an electrician. It all spun about from travelling in Southeast Asia. I came back from Southeast Asia due to a family crisis, a bit of an issue going on in the family. And I cut that trip back early, which for a lot of years that really, that decision laid with me. Was that the right decision? Should I have made that decision? But quite quickly, I decided to go into the course of becoming an electrician. I'd always fancy counselling. I fancy doing something on that side of things. But I'd been really interested in sustainability and the environment, and the fact that the first world had sort of gone through its industrial revolution and was in the position we're in. But you're looking at countries like Cambodia and Vietnam, etc., who are actually looking to try and build up and get better economies, get a better life for the workforce, for the people of the countries.
Were those two of the places that you visited in your travels? Yes,
I did quite a typical circuit. So Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam and Laos. And back in 2005, it was quite lovely and untouched in certain places. Like in Laos, there was islands I was visiting where there was no televisions on the islands, so it was really remote and beautiful and untouched, and a really great experience there. And I think coming back to the UK, I was always a little bit I'd say bitter, to be honest, because I came back, there was these family circumstances, made probably a bit of a rash decision to come back, but that got me into, right, I'm here now. What am I going to do? I'm interested in renewable energy technologies. How do I get there? I never thought university was for me, with my past history of school, changing schools at sort of 14 years old and, all the rest of it. I felt like I changed schools so that I didn't get expelled from school. I was going down that kind of route and that kind of path. So I came back, I did the apprenticeship. During that apprenticeship, I was on the party scene. So that along with that came recreational drugs. And that was most weekends. My partner, who I lived with at the time, I lived in his house, and it was very much welcome in his house. So I might come back from doing a 12-hour shift on a building site, and then there might be people in the front room taking all kinds of anything. So it was a bit of a juggle. And with that, my mental health really suffered. So all day, every day, I'd almost been a bit of torment.
Yeah, two completely different worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. The 4-year apprenticeship, a month before I was qualified, I still got my certification, but a month before I was qualified, we all walked into the company one morning and it went bust.
After 4 years of effort.
So, the key being I did get the qualification.
Yes.
But yeah, it was just like, wow, okay, where do we go from here? And I really spun out. In that year. I really wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something more creative or find a different way, a different avenue. But actually, looking back through the friendship groups I had, through the scene that I was frequenting at the time, I really just spiraled out. And looking at the sort of recreational addictions I had, I then ended up with a couple of year addiction on a class A. Right. And that was really kind of, just put me, really underneath the belt. I was looking at the friendship group I had at the time, and someone was going to prison. Someone had gone through the car windscreen because of a crash, but they were probably driving influenced. And I was looking around at what was going on around me and thought something has to change.
Yeah, because quite often the stories I've heard in the past are people going through the recreational drug scene before they've then come out of it and got the qualification. But you'd been in the recreational scene in quite a mild way, just with a weed.
Yeah.
Got your qualification and then went to the harder stuff.
And then decided to spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at that time, so when just before I'd finished, so the year before I finished my apprenticeship, I'd been in a 4-year relationship and that broke down. I got with somebody quite quickly who I became infatuated by. Looking back, infatuated is the word, who was not as steady and was into more harder substances. And frequented in the substance abuse much more. So it was just a sort of series of bad decisions. You then end up where then the job loss came. So you've got these sort of different factors, the end of one relationship, the bad choice of another relationship, the job loss, and then the sort of spiraling out of control with where our house we were living in was coming up. So it was like, I was finding myself like, I've got nowhere to live. Where do I actually live here? I've not set plans in place to support this. And so there was a huge breakdown of really good decisions being made at that time. And actually having the capacity to make a good decision because
Absolutely. If you're off your head all the time, that capacity is not there, is it?
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So, so it was a long journey, and it was at that point. So it was at that point where I decided university is where I needed to go to. Even after years ago thinking, I'm not going to university, I'll drop out, it'll be a waste of money. I've seen so many people drop out and change courses. It's not for me, school wasn't for me. I just knew that I needed to go back and focus on something. But actually, I also knew that because during this time of job loss, the bad choices, the Class A addictions, I lost all my confidence. I started having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, panic attacks. And I knew that I couldn't go back into a workplace as I was. I wasn't in my mental health was not in a state to be able to go back into a workplace confidently, especially not on a building site.
Yeah, well, I suppose male-dominated place, you've got to be a little bit, even on the surface, even if it is only surface deep, a bit tough, a bit resilient. Oh, correct me if I'm wrong. That's just my...
No, absolutely. I mean, you can get bullies in any workplace. It doesn't matter whether that's male, female, right? You can get bullies in any workplace. So people, depending on characters, unfortunately, will end up, no matter whether it's a male, female tag, etc. But I think, one of the situations from my third year of my apprenticeship, where actually, I wasn't in my real breakdown stage. I was out running my very first job, and the company director sent me to run my first job with the guy who'd been arrested after the Christmas party for battering his wife.
Whoa.
So you just think back as well, oh, thanks for that, cheers. And I remember at the end on the Friday of that job, I wasn't driving at the time. I'd not passed my test and he was driving, but I was the electrician and he was the second pair of hands on the job. He was the assistant. And it was a Friday and he was on the phone to the guys because there was something not working in the smoke alarm system that we'd put up. There was a fault on the system and he was eager to get off and leave the job. And he's on the phone to all the guys, effing stupid bitch. There's a fault on this system. I'm just going to leave that. I want to go home. It's Friday, it's this time and all the rest of it. And actually, at that time, I was, this was a pre-breakdown. I took great delight in the fact that I found the fault on the system and it was something that he'd wired up and he'd done on the job.
Sorry, shouldn't do that, but that was spontaneous, wasn't it?
It was just, I was like, so obviously at the time I took great delight in explaining to him how it was meant to be, and, and I hacked it at that time. That was fine. But actually I think probably underlying, I felt like on the surface I was managing and hacking it, but I think underlying it was probably taking a bit of a toll on my confidence as well.
A drip, drip, drip kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Did that have any physical manifestations on you?
The physical, no, that's a really good question, Des, and I'm so glad you asked. The physical manifestations came at a different point for me. Okay. And this was between the apprenticeship and university. I was freelancing as an electrician, and I got an injury. I actually got a physical injury on taking a scaffolding down on site. Little money coming in at the time, then into uni as a mature student, bad habits and choices. So yeah, not a lot of money to then actually go and get the professional help I needed to fix the injury, etc. I didn't have a lot of patience with the NHS. They wrote me off and tried to write me antidepressants at 19 years old, which is something I never went, I never sought that route of care or self-care. At that time I went and joined a gym, so I always had a little bit more of a alternative focus around me, other than taking recreational substances, which was a downfall. But actually, so the physical injury, once I then got into heavy depression after the panic attacks and anxiety attacks, I then got heavily depressed during university. And this injury, then it started manifesting that every time over the last 13 years. And this is after I then had started going to lots of different treatments, conventional physios as well as alternative treatments as well. Every time I got stressed, I would manifest this pain, like real pain in my left side, in my shoulder. Almost like you're walking around with your shoulder down here. It was just so painful to the point I had massage machines that I'd paid for at home. And due to that, I looked at multiple different alternative routes to become pain-free. And it was a 13-year journey for me to become pain-free. And it's actually only this year where I will say that I cleared that energy and I've changed that stagnant densification of matter within my system and released it back into energetic form.
Wonderful.
I know.
Wow. That's quite a journey. And apart from your shoulder, was there anything else physically?
How it then further manifested in I'd been on a journey where I'd seen lots of different specialists. Sophia Cups, she's a mind body health specialist, and she's mapped out the body using Eastern methods, to where you've got your inner child and your masculine and your feminine and the different sides of your body, and how sort of where work colleagues might sit and play out emotionally in your back, your shoulders, different areas, etc. So she very much does the massage and talking therapy as well, and her practice since 2020 just went to the talking therapy, which she can release pain, the manifestation of physical pain in the body through communication and conversation, and release it in that sense. So I was seeing her for that, and then I got onto Reiki and different sort of spiritual coaching, and I was slowly but surely getting much better. I was listening to sort of Lillian Eden, a great spiritual hypnotist on YouTube. She, and all these different modalities were helping. But then in 2020, I took a real turn, and the whole left side of my body, I'd started getting a bit of sciatica, I think, prior to this. But, people can get sciatica, and I did not look too much further into that until it started going, not just shooting in from my bum down to my foot, but actually going then all up through this left side and then round my eye. Ooh. So I was getting the sort of nervous system pain and all the way, around my eye, round the back of my neck and right the way down the left side of my body. And with this came brain fog. By this point, fast forward, I've done my degree. By this point, I've worked then for different renewable energy companies on the tools installing. I've then worked for the local authority, the local council, and all this time just seeing different specialists and trying to figure out my health and my mental health as well, and my wellness. And so in 2020, it really threw me. I was going to the doctors for MRI scans, asking for blood tests, and I really had to fight my way to get a blood test. The doctor was, well, what do you want me to test you for? I'm like, well, I'm not the trained specialist. Like, can you, and I was lucky at the time, work paid for a healthcare scheme. So I could actually talk to a private doctor who said, you need testing for ABC. I'll write to your doctor and let them know what you need testing for. So just actually listening to somebody and somebody listening to you, and then actually backing you up is a real sort of blessing. And really showed me, how much you have to stick up for yourself anyway in life, of course, but how much you really have to battle for your own health in the current systems and the current setup of systems, unless it's a quick write an antidepressant prescription or something like that. The MRI scans came back completely clear. I was getting, I'd been getting brain fog teamed with the pain and the chronic pain, which makes you pretty sluggish anyway. I was getting real brain fog, and it was noticeable at work, which, when you're impacting your career, that then becomes a problem, And it was at that time my wonderful auntie, God rest her soul, she battled with cancer for 20 years, numerous different cancers, but prolonged her life greatly through different alternative modalities. And one of those modalities was, and I know you're very much aware of it, bioresonance and biofeedback. And this put me on a huge journey with the bioresonance technology.
Do you want to explain a little bit about what bioresonance is, just in case people listening don't know?
Absolutely, yes. Bioresonance, not that you're allowed to say in the UK that it's a diagnostic tool, but it scans using frequencies. It scans your organs within your body. And everything sits at a certain frequency. It's physics, it's quantum physics. Everything sits at a certain frequency, your liver, your lungs, your heart, etc. So the bioresonance machine scans the body and can see and detect frequencies that are out of alignment. And from understanding the frequencies that are out of an alignment, it will suggest potential causes and probabilities as to why you're out of alignment. So machines can pick up on a lack of serotonin, a lack of dopamine in your system, your vitamins and minerals, where you might be deficient in your vitamins and minerals, your microbiome, where your microbiome is, and I know that you know this, is out of whack. And you've got the negative bacterias, infiltrating and overtaking. So for me, the and bioresonance, actually, it doesn't just sort of scan and show you where your body's out of whack. It's so clever that the correct frequencies can then be fed back into your body and heal and support the healing, the natural healing capabilities of your body as well. It's fascinating. It's
Yes. And that will have appealed to you, no doubt, because of your electrician training and the physics that's involved in that. It must have been your comfort zone, shall we say.
Absolutely. The bioresonance testing machine, when you're holding on to the positive and negative electrodes, absolutely reminded me of when you're testing a electrical system and seeing whether that system's overloaded and then thinking of why that system's overloaded. And I actually worked with at Halifax Renewable Energy Company, the managing director there, Steve Shimbles. He was a medical engineer. He went and designed himself a new hip and undertook a medical engineering degree to design himself a new hip after a motorbike accident, and knowing that the current hips in his 20s would only last 10 years, and then so he couldn't have that many. So a different story for another time. But it was when working, fast forward, he's got his own renewable energy company, and it was working with him. And he said, Anna, you do realise the human body is literally your arteries and your heart is your plumbing system, and your nervous system is your and your brain is your electrical system. And then you look at, he was then going Wi-Fi and radio frequencies, telepathic communication. That's how it works. So he really got me thinking about the body and about the Eastern methodologies of the chakra systems, the energetic centers within your body. And it really helped me understand about the different meridians and energetic centers within your body and how they connect, and actually how when one meridian line is out of balance, it's going to throw your whole body out of whack, or actually where there's something out of balance, it can actually pinch from another meridian line. So actually you've got a real problem going on with your heart, but it shows up on your skin because actually the energy from your heart requires the energy more than your skin does, so it'll show up in a different way and take
that's interesting.
different meridian lines from the reading and from the understanding I have of it. Yes, so the electrical and the physics and the knowledge I took from my electrical apprenticeship, and also the sustainable construction degree that I did, the sustainable construction degree and the 3 pillars of sustainability: social, environmental and economic. I really delved into the social pillar and the human behaviour change pillar, because you look at sustainability and it's all about efficiency and looking after the environment. And I was there being a very inefficient human with lots of bad habits and addictions, not making very efficient choices for a long period of time. So that really threw me on to, right, okay, so how can people actually be healthy and sustainable within themselves and sustain ourselves to then sustain positive and healthy communities, to then sustain a positive, healthy and happy society as well from there.
I love that, the way you've made that connection, and therefore the transition that has come out of that.
Yes, it's been a long journey. And an interesting way of connecting it. But yeah, the bioresonance was a real pivot and turning point in my health journey. And at the time I had chronic inflammation in my body. And that's why I was getting the nervous system pain. So the practitioner I was working with put me through a protocol of cleaning up my body before we then used the bioresonance machine, the frequencies on the bioresonance machine to attack the parasites that were in my body. She found parasites on my central nervous system. That's what came up as a big factor for me, and that was affecting me. The brain fog, etc. So it came up that I was intolerant to potatoes, tomatoes, the deadly nightshade family, and multiple other food groups and types at the time. I was deficient in vitamin B12, vitamin D, magnesium, muscle cramps has been a huge thing for me. So the magnesium has been a real blessing to bring in. So I cleared this in 2020 with the bioresonance, with this practitioner cleaned up my body, which was absolutely fantastic. And a couple of years later, I became pregnant and had my beautiful baby girl Xanthi, who is 2 years old now. I know, it's so just amazing, just so amazing. And so my health journey and actually cleaning up my body to that point, and overcoming the addictions has meant that I can, really live a life that I want and welcome a beautiful girl into the world as well. So that's a real positive.
I bet you never thought all them years ago that, you would end up.
No.
Even doing an apprenticeship, never mind the degree.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was interesting. At university, they sent me for a test on dyspraxia.
Okay.
And I was like, what's dyspraxia? I've never heard of it. I mean, you hear of dyslexia, etc. And that was really interesting because I came back with a mild form of dyspraxia. And I've since learned that actually neurodiversity is like that. If you're on the spectrum with one thing, there might be others that come into play. I've not felt the need since getting that diagnosis to go down a hunting path as to whether I have anything else, etc. But it's really helped me understand then actually where my boundaries and my self-confidence and the choices I've made may have come about, as well, in a society that's been very not supportive of that, looking back 20, 25 years ago, right?
Things have changed a lot since then, haven't they?
Yeah, thank goodness.
Maybe down to just more talk of it.
Yeah.
Whether that be on social media or on terrestrial TV, some celebrity attachments, talking about mental health issues have helped to open the doors, I think, haven't they?
Yeah, everyone, the generations that are coming through have really opened up communication and I think really changed the dynamic of society as well, which has been great. Such a blessing,
Yeah. Do you think you've always been able to feel that you could talk about what was going on and use your voice?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. That's been another journey.
Okay, have I landed on something there?
Yeah, and it's absolutely, Deb. So I got to the point where between the sort of apprenticeship and the university stage, through the sort of panic attacks and the breakdown, through cutting off a friendship group to go on a healing journey because you can't stick with what's going on and you have to make a drastic change. So isolating myself, I then looked, and I was ashamed actually of choices I'd made and of the addictions I'd had and the path that I'd so there was a lot of shame governing me at the time as well. And I lost my confidence to communicate because I didn't feel I had much to communicate about. So because I knew that actually to get on and live a normal life or a better life, a better version of myself, I would have to go out into the world and communicate again. To get a job, to do a job interview, you've got to be able to put yourself forward and have that confidence to do so as well. And at the time, another real healing modality for me was poetry writing. I was writing poems, and a lot of those poems were to do with the conflicts I was facing at the time as well. So not only did I start writing the poems, but I started challenging myself to go to spoken word poetry nights.
When you were struggling to communicate, that is a brave move.
I remember my legs shaking on stage at the very first one I was literally terrified. But thankfully, the lady who was putting on the night was, really great and a good supportive community as well. And my confidence just developed with it. And I entered a poetry slam at one point at the local place that we did the poetry nights as well. So I enjoyed it. I spent a couple of years, the back end of my 20s, sort of following my degree when I was working at the renewable energy companies, doing the spoken word. And that was really coming out of the depression And starting to learn and reintegrate myself in society as well. So that was nice.
Yeah. Wow. And here was me thinking that you'd had enough, but then there was that as well.
Yes.
To add to the burden. So there's a strong lady in there, isn't there?
I think she's in there somewhere. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think even looking sort of from the bioresonance in 2020 and over the last 5 years, I'd still not, I was still getting the pain in my shoulder, and it was something that I was like, I'm not prepared to keep on keeping on with this. And you'll have heard of Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yes.
A bit of a superstar in the meditation and transformation space.
Absolutely, yes.
So I was lucky enough to buy myself a ticket for my birthday last year to one of his events in Basel in Switzerland. 3-day meditation event and learning about the science and the quantum physics and the physics behind energy transformation. And during the time at the event, so powerful, because I've understood about the chakra centers, energetic centers. I've been around women's circles and sharing circles and energy healers, Reiki healers, Sekam healers, etc. And people are like, step into your heart space. I'm like, okay, step into my heart space. And it wasn't until I went to Joe Dispenza's event that I knew what it meant to be in your energetic heart center.
Oh, interesting.
I was projecting, in a sense. I felt a projection, electromagnetic. Your heart's your most electromagnetic organ of the body, frequency-wise. So, I was projecting. I felt I was projecting out of my heart center at the event. And because it was 8,000 people meditating together. So there's the, I forget the term now, but there's the knock-on effect of the more people you get into the heart center within a space, it actually then helps the next person to get into that space and lifts the frequency and lifts the vibration
that makes sense.
of the other people. And during that time, I had absolutely zero. I could not feel any pain in my body at all. And that's where I was like, that's the key. That's the heart space. If you're in your heart center and aligned, you're not in your pain in your physical body, so to speak. So
transformational event then.
Absolutely, yeah.
Best birthday present you've ever given yourself.
Thanks,
by the sounds
Dr.
of
Joe.
it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I went with a bit of mum guilt, but I've definitely come back being a better mum ever since.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So.
Any more journeys with Joe planned?
I would absolutely love to get myself to one of his week-long retreats, and it's definitely something that's on the to-do list.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. I've never done of his stuff, but obviously I know his name. He's very famous, isn't he, in that particular arena?
He is, and I think as well, I was blessed to be able to afford to go on that event. But actually, prior to going to his event, I'd downloaded and listened to all of his audio books. I'd downloaded and listened to meditations of his, some free meditations on YouTube. Some I was managed to get through Audible, etc. as well. And actually, the transformation I had from listening to his meditations every evening over a 6-week period. I also had, a body transformation through doing that at home. So, these body transformations and ways you can transform in yourself, you don't have to pay a lot of money for. That's what I'm trying to say. It's something that is accessible, and it is something that you can do at home. So, people can access it, even if they're, financially struggling as well.
That's really important, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So
healing and healthcare should be available to everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds to me that you kind of had the bones of what was going on. You know, like you say, you knew about the heart chakras, you knew about healing, you knew about meditation, but actually going to the event, compounding the effect of the books and the meditations really put the meat on those bones for you.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yeah.
Oh, I hope you get the opportunity to go on a week-long thing, because if that shorter version was so transformative for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely on the radar. It's something to look forward to. Yeah.
And do you think there'd be a value in combining the bioresonance with something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Both are scientifically wonderful and can benefit in so many different ways. And it's looking at the layers of the body and the being as well, isn't it? The physical, emotional. You're the doctor in the room. You know these layers more than I do.
We don't get taught them at medical school, though.
No.
We don't get taught about emotions apart from in the psych modules that you do.
Interesting. Yeah, that's...
You know, in spirituality, we respect the fact that people, you know, may want to follow their own cultural and religious practices, but that's not spirituality. But that's the sort of box it would come under, should we say. So no.
Interesting. Yeah, so your physical, your emotional and your energetic system, and treating all three systems, and that's the beauty of you know your meditation is, and your visualizations, you're transforming dense energy that's densified in your body, and creating disease. Densified is not the right word, but
it'll do. We can make words up on here if you want to. That's fine.
And I mean, one of the experiences I've had, and I've had this from a breathwork ceremony as well, where you can actually, your body starts shaking and you can feel the matter moving and transforming back into an energy and then releasing out of your body. And that's the full transformation period. That's letting go of an issue, a problem, an emotional problem that's been in the body there as well. So definitely the meditation, the bioresonance, and the multiple other wonderful alternative health modalities that are on offer on the market today. Kinesiology.
Wonderful.
When the physio, I'd started, because I've always balanced with mainstream stuff as well. So strength training, kettlebells. There's a wonderful woman in Hebden Bridge, Megan Kelly, and she's got Hebden Bridge Strength and Movement. And I started training with her when I was getting out of my, slowly coming out on my body. I was like, my body hurts, I'm in pain, I need to strengthen up and tone up and train. And I started going to her classes, and I was like, my knee, a really bad pain in my knee, so these other pains, etc. She said, have you tried kinesiology? I said, no. She says, well, I'm connected to so-and-so who's a kinesiologist. One session with him, and he found a scar on my shin, and he used his little device, and I was like, ow, that's the pain I get in my knee. And he said, right, you need to do this exercise. I'm perfect. And that's supported and helped that. And after years of trying to go to a physio, sports therapist, chiropractor, etc., they'd not found it. So, and it was just through, conversating and having that and being open to different modalities.
That is so much it, isn't it? You've got to have belief.
Yeah.
In whichever path you choose, whether that be traditional medicine or alternative medicine. If you don't believe it's going to work, it ain't going to work.
Yeah. Absolutely. The belief is everything, isn't it?
Yeah, because the mind is so powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It can override everything.
Absolutely. And, going through anxiety and depression and looping in the mind, and addiction and looping in the mind of, negative emotions, you catch yourself. I'm like, well, can I change that? What would happen if I start thinking in a more positive cycle, a more positive way? And I really, from actually right the way back to cigarettes, wanting a cigarette every 10, 15 minutes, that nicotine craving that's coming on such a quick loop round in you. I thought that's a real basis for looping round on a negative cycle right there.
Yeah.
With other negative emotions, etc. That's the cycle you're giving yourself. And then on the Joe Dispenza conference, and when he's talking to us about the body and the hormones and the energetic system and quantum physics and how it all works, he was saying, oh yeah, we're addicted to the hormones that our bodies release from the negative cycles we go through. And I was like, without smoking a cigarette, I'm smoking a cigarette. And keeping myself in that loop of when I get stressed, I'm going to release the cortisol. It's going to go to this point on my shoulder, because that was the shoulder I hurt when I was, and I went through that bad time. And that's where my body had learned to keep sending these signals of pain to when I got stressed out, etc. And it was that loop and being addicted to that loop of hormones.
Amazing, isn't it? When you just, like you say, open to it and you can start to see things a different way, then you can start to see a way out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fabulous. That is absolutely the sort of what my mission is all about, is looking at what we can do in the medical system and looking at what we can do in the alternative system and picking out the best of both.
Amazing.
And not being, and the medical system primarily, not being afraid to say, well, actually, let's look at, for instance, kinesiology. Let's look at meditation. Let's look and see how these can help. And the fact that a lot of them are backed up with science nowadays, it's going to take people that are prepared to go to the medics and say, yep, what you're doing is great, but you are missing a trick.
Yes.
Do you want to be the best? Do you want to really, if this is what appeals, do you want to really climb your ladder and become prestigious in your particular field? You may do that just by sticking to the medical part of it, but you're much more likely to do it, in my opinion, if you add in something else that separates you from the rest and becomes a nice little niche, and people come to you for that.
A functional practitioner who's looking holistically at the body, at the full system of the body, and your credibility as a doctor, as a holistic doctor, and a conventional doctor as well, Debs, is just absolutely fantastic. The light that you're shining and the work that you're doing on the on the umbrella across the alternative and the mainstream system, and what more can be done, and what more can be done to help people, and for it not to have to be a 15 to 20 year journey and cycle for people actually as well to get back to health.
To break those loops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it makes me look back on my journey and think, well, this is why I did medicine then.
Amazing.
So that I can sit right where I am now and hopefully be able to play my role in bridging that gap, bringing holistic voices into the picture and just combining the two and not making it almost like a dirty word if you bring in some holistic alternative practices. That's just so old hat, in my opinion, and needs to go.
Really does.
It's useless.
Really does. And the experience, I remember the doctor, when I went to get my MRI scan results, and I'd started seeing the bioresonance practitioner at the time, and the MRI results came back with nothing showing on them. So I said to him, I was obviously suffering. My work was suffering. I'd fought so hard to get into a steady job for myself. So I really wanted to be a contributing member of society. I didn't want to write myself off like I thought I might, years previous. So, and I said to him, have you heard of bioresonance?
No.
But he didn't want to engage in the conversation either, or understand in the conversation either. And that's quite when you're going through something that feels medical, actually, with your body, you really want the professional in the room to at least be open to the conversation or have an understanding of what else is out there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully with the rise and the more acceptance and the more prevalence of holistic and alternative treatments, my hope is that they can't stay blinkered for much longer. Some will. They always will, won't they? They'll be the stalwarts. They'll be the ones that, will not shift.
Absolutely.
But, it only takes a few to start listening and to start spreading the word. I mean, there are some private hospitals nowadays that have things like hyperbaric oxygen because they know it enhances healing.
Of course.
Why the hell won't that spread everywhere else? Why are we depriving the general population of that?
Yeah.
And I read an article as well that they have discovered that sound therapy can help.
Of course it can. Frequency.
In healing. And it's like, no, you haven't discovered that. Do you know what I mean? You may have discovered that it's useful in your particular practice, but you haven't been the person that discovered it. But, if your ego is such that you need to have it that way, then sitting where I am right now, I don't care, as long as you are embracing it.
Of course.
Can address that later.
Of course. And I love that. And you really look back to, on that note of you've not discovered it, you look back to the tribal communities and they were doing it, teaching it. It was, getting passed down through generation to generation. Yeah. Hence the difference between the Eastern medicines, the Western, the Chinese medicine and your Ayurvedic medicine sort of systems and sciences that have been prevalent there as well.
For centuries.
Absolutely. Hundreds of millennia. Yeah.
But,
So it's super... it's brilliant that the West are almost are waking up and taking the blinkers off to it.
Absolutely.
Now as well. So
you're moving forward with bioresonance, aren't you? Did you make a decision recently? I understand.
Yes. I've been looking at training, retraining, and I've been really incentivized by the alternative health industry. And I really want to do something that is aligned and heart-centered, something that I want to give back. Bioresonance is a technology that really, from all the alternative modalities I've done, it's one that really struck with me and stuck with me. I did train a few years ago in Reiki because I wanted to have a lineage of energetic modality, energy modality to understand and learn and use, and that's brilliant. But I'm a scientist and engineer at heart.
Yeah.
And the bioresonance machine is an engineered piece of science that works with frequencies and energy and tests, like collaborating your electrical system at home, collaborating your body system. Yeah. So I made the huge plunge on the blood moon on Sunday night. I've been looking at purchasing for some time, but I made the plunge on Sunday and bought myself a bioresonance machine. So I'm super excited to slowly start building the foundations and offering that out.
Wonderful, because it was so significant in your healing journey as well as it appealing to your science and engineering background, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Can't get more aligned than that, I don't think.
It ticked all the boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm super excited about it. And the company that I'm working with, the manufacturer, they have their own naturopaths that they work with. So although I'm not trained as a naturopath myself, I'm working with them and alongside them. It's a partnership relationship. So clients, moving forward, when I do get clients for the bioresonance, they can have the full test report reported from the naturopath doctor and bioresonance doctor as well.
That's wonderful. So it's a really supported journey.
Yes.
I can see you doing naturopathic training but for yourself in a few years' time.
I
can see that coming.
Yes, I definitely feel a sidestep going on. Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can become an expert in the modality.
Exactly.
That healed you.
Mm-hmm.
How wonderful.
Super excited.
Full circle.
And a full gift, a full way to be able to support and help others as well.
That's wonderful. You're definitely coming back for a second edition of the podcast. We need to know where this bioresonance journey is going to take you.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing today.
I appreciate the invite, Debs. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, my darling. We will meet again.
Brilliant.